At present, there are three models for overseas warehouses in the market, namely, self-built overseas warehouses, third-party overseas warehouses, and one-stop supporting services. What are the characteristics of these three models? How should e-commerce sellers choose the model that suits them? In this lesson, let's first understand self-built overseas warehouses. Self-built overseas warehouses refer to warehouses established overseas by some powerful sellers themselves. The customs clearance, tax filing, distribution, and other links involved in cross-border logistics are completed by the sellers themselves. Its advantage is that with independent control, the traditional logistics model can only ensure the transportation of goods in the domestic section, but due to geographical reasons, it has lost control of goods arriving abroad. The entire logistics process of the self-built overseas warehouse is within the control of the seller. The seller has ownership of the overseas warehouse and can directly control the goods. At the same time, it is convenient to cooperate and coordinate with other logistics systems to achieve localized distribution and operation, and can provide consumers with better services. Long-term costs fall. In the short term, establishing a warehouse requires a large cost. However, after the warehouse is completed, the seller can independently control the logistics chain and management of all goods, and control the quantity and distribution of products. In the long run, it can effectively reduce the warehousing cost of unit goods and reduce the cost of goods in the logistics process, providing benefits to the enterprise. Improve capital turnover. Sellers build their own overseas warehouses, which can respond to orders as soon as possible, quickly arrange the sorting, shipment, and distribution of goods, shorten the commodity transaction cycle, increase the inventory turnover rate, reduce the occupation of funds, and increase the turnover rate of funds. Of course, self-building overseas warehouses also have obvious disadvantages. First, due to the legal and tax restrictions of different countries, self-building overseas warehouses will inevitably deal with the laws and taxes of the destination country. During the process of establishing a warehouse, it is difficult to deal with the distribution of multiple types of goods. Legal and tax issues arising during the process are inevitably subject to local laws and taxes. Secondly, the resource requirements for building warehouses are large, the maintenance costs are high, the funds needed to build overseas warehouses, and the express logistics costs after the completion of construction all require enterprises to have strong funds and ensure the continuity of the capital chain. Moreover, it takes a long time to build the warehouse, and the daily operating expenses of the warehouse are high, which requires great patience and courage from the company. Personnel management is difficult to establish warehouses overseas. Due to large cultural differences, management is also difficult. Whether it is for foreign teams or domestic teams, it is inevitable to use localized management methods and management ideas, which requires finding suitable employees who understand the industry. On the whole, the biggest feature of self-built overseas warehouses is that they are owned by enterprises. Enterprises enjoy more autonomy and control. They have flexibility unmatched by other models, but their costs and risks are also the highest. Therefore, this model is suitable for large-scale cross-border e-commerce companies with large market share and strong strength, such as Alibaba, AliExpress, and Lanting Group, the largest foreign trade e-commerce company. At present, the construction of overseas warehouses is still in its infancy, And there are still many problems. Among them, the management of overseas employees and unfamiliarity with the policies and laws of the destination country are common problems, and localized operations urgently need to be developed. The above is an introduction to self-built overseas warehouses. Thank you all.